Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, Living the Savvy Life, which is all about smart spending and looking at your finances from a lifestyle perspective. My name is Melissa Tosetti, and this is my colleague.
I'm Kevin Gibbons.
And today we would like to talk to you about the importance of Bourbon and Bali categories on your spending plan. What is a Bourbon and Bali category, Kevin?
Those are the fun categories. When you're putting together your spending plan, you have all your essential expenses, you have all your bills you have to pay, you have your long-term goals, your long-term investment goals. The Bourbon and Bali categories are what makes life fun. And so we think of it in two separate ways. And these really came about because of our interactions with clients. It wasn't something we actually created. They were actually created by clients. We had a client who had a bourbon category. Drinking good quality bourbon was very important to them. And so they took a percentage of their expenses and allocated it towards spending on good quality bourbon. And then there are a lot of people who like to travel. So when you talk about Bourbon and Bali, the bourbon categories are your day-to-day pleasures, the small things you do that are fun to do. All right. The Bali are more events, big, long-term, medium-term goals, like taking a trip to Bali. So that's something that you would save up for and then go spend. Maybe you'll save for 6 months or maybe a year, maybe 2 years if it's really extravagant, but short-term in that regard. But the Bourbon and Bali categories are the things that are important to capture in your spending plan because they're what makes life fun.
You know, one of the things that we've learned over the years is that very often when a client comes to us, or let's say that their financial advisor suggests that they come in and work with us, the first thought that they have is they're going to take away all the fun stuff, right? They're that Melissa and Kevin are the money police. I don't want to go to these people. And what we found again and again and again is that when we start talking to them about the importance of these particular categories, it helps them to understand, no, these are what makes your life, number one, unique and what makes your life enjoyable. And the other aspect of it is that as you're working towards those longer term goals, right? Especially something like retirement or sending the kids to college, for a lot of people, that can be a long ways away. And somehow you need to figure out how to enjoy. You shouldn't wait for retirement to have fun and to enjoy your money. You've got to have that balance. We talk about all the time. Living a savvy life is about, taking care of your financial future while enjoying today. And it's these particular categories that are really key. And so as Kevin said, the bourbon categories are all about on a day-to-day basis, what is it that I want to focus my money on that is going to give me quality of life? And the key there is that when you identify that in advance, it allows you to look around and start saying, I've been spending on this and I'm not getting as much enjoyment out of it. And you just start to, it's like a guidepost, if you will, to base everything else on. Would I rather spend on this or would I rather spend on bourbon? Which actually makes it sound like complete lushes, but it's a fun, easy to identify category for people. And it's like we were talking about earlier, Kevin, how, for a lot of people, if we're talking about bourbon and Bali, it may sound like such extravagant things. And I believe that is really, or we both believe, that's really where people go off the rails when they're creating a budget, because they're trying to be too Spartan.
Yeah, you're trying to be austere. The first thing you do is cut the fun out, and we've seen this a lot with a lot of clients we work with. Is they get in a situation where the income doesn't cover all the expenses that we come up with, and the first thing they do is they say, "All right, well, I'll cut out my vacations, and I'll cut out going out to dinner, and I'll cut all these things out." And we always have to say, "No, slow down. You need to keep those things in to keep yourself sane so that you can enjoy life."
Or pick and choose versus like that slate that like, I'm just, right. Yeah.
Can we cut some other things back so you still have a few things that are enjoyable? Because there's two reasons for this. You don't want to have extreme self-denial. It's been demonstrated over and over again in psychological studies that most people can't maintain that for a long period of time. At some point, the dam breaks and everything breaks loose, and that's the last thing you want. The other thing is these little enjoyments are the carrots the incentive to motivate you when things get a little bit tough. It's like, oh man, I'm really tired of having to do X, Y, but I know that come Friday, I get to go do my fun thing. All right. And, maybe it's the people who are, get to have their bourbon. Maybe it's, oh, I get to go, that's movie night or that's date night with my significant other, whatever it is, that's the little pleasure that gets you through to the next, to the next element. You brought up a really good point with a longer one with the Bali conversation. The idea about saving and saving and saving and denying yourself and then going and having this great vacation. And then what happens?
Then it's the last night of your vacation, or you're flying home and you start to get into this depression because you're thinking, oh, I had my 1 week of fun. Now I'm going to go to my Spartan life and I'm eating top ramen and I'm not doing anything until I can go on the next, Bali-like vacation. That doesn't work either. I learned a lesson actually from our mutual friend, Jessie. She has some excellent money habits, but one of the things that she does every single day is she goes to Starbucks. Mm-hmm. And to her, it does two things for her. It's something that she enjoys, that experience, that Starbucks experience, and she also enjoys the taste of what it is that she's consuming. It helps her knowing that she's able to do that every day. It helps her later in the day to say no to calories. Mm-hmm. Because she knows that I know what I really want is I want that Starbucks every day. So it's easier for her to say no to stuff. And then the other aspect of it is because that's her splurge. Financially, it's easier for her to say no to a lot of those other fun stuff as well. And I think that is really key. That self-awareness to know where it's all about, like a reticular activating system of where am I going to get the most bang for my buck is really the best way to describe it.
Exactly. So and one of the things now, so some people, we talked again, the example, Bourbon Bali, fairly big categories, but you may not have in mind big extravagant expenses. You may lead a very simple life. It's like, well, I don't drink and I don't take vacations, but I just tend to my garden and this is what I enjoy doing. I don't need to worry about that. You need to put it in your plan. It's really important to put those in the plan because you don't want to neglect them, even if they're small, especially if they're small. And again, that aspect of the carrot, by putting them in the plan, you know that you're taking care of the fun stuff in your life. And if you neglect that, if you don't put it in the plan, it's too easy to forget about it. And then it's too easy to get overwhelmed or depressed because you look at the plan looks like it has no fun. The idea of crafting a spending plan is this is something that you're going to live with for a very long time. And so it has to be something that will work for you. And it really does have to be enjoyable. You have to set yourself up so that you can succeed in this. And the way to do that is to make sure you include those small things.
So 2 thoughts on that real quick. And I'll be like if I remember number 2. Number 1, as a gardener, I understand just how expensive gardening can be. The fact that you have to pay for soil or dirt is ridiculous, right? So that just as a kind of a funny thing,
there's an expense there,
an innocuous expense, but it does add up. The other thing I had, and I knew I was going to forget it, I was trying to remember it with that by saying it. The second thing of it's that idea. Oh, I remember layers. The second part you talked about that you're going to live with your spending plan for a very long time. Yes, that is true. But the fact of the matter is, I want to make sure spending plans are living documents. They ebb and flow. So the idea is that you create a spending plan, but every 3 months, every 6 months, every 12 months, you're updating it so that it lives with your current situation and your current desires.
Exactly.
You don't have to pick now what you are going to want to do 6 years from now.
Right. But you do want to have the plan set up in a way that, again, it's fluid, but it has the parameters to include that fun stuff so that you are encouraged to make those modifications and update them. And so again, that's really key.
One of the outcomes that I believe is so powerful about creating a spending plan is the idea of it is that it's a plan to fund the life that you want to live.
Very simple.
In order to define that, You have to define the life that you want to live. And to me, I believe there is so much value in that part of the process. Look, the numbers are easy. We say it all the time. You can Tetris numbers on a document and you can make the math work. It's living within those numbers that is the key. But if you're not even trying to live within those numbers, if you don't define what you want your life to look like, then you're just kind of, we bounce. We're just like pinballs. We're bouncing from one experience or expense to the next versus going in a straight line towards where you want to go, or at least taking advantage of serendipitous opportunities along the way, right?
Of course. Or you have set up arbitrary constraints of saying, well, I think I should only spend this much on entertainment. I should only spend this much on food. But if you haven't figured out what your life looks like, those numbers are arbitrary, and if they don't reflect how you really want to live your life, you may have trouble adhering to them, and they may not be the right ones for you. Again, the whole idea is define what your life wants to look like, craft the plan that will get you there.
Right. Exactly. So any extra thoughts around this?
I think we've pretty much got this one wrapped up here. Again, the idea behind this whole Bourbon and Bali categories are looking at the fun day-to-day things, that's the bourbon, looking at the more intermediate things like trips or whatever is good you're doing for enjoyment that makes life fun on a 3-month to 1 to 2 year time schedule. That's the Bali. It's important that you do these things because they not only allow pleasure and enjoyment of life, they also serve as carrots for some of the other aspects of the plan that may be a little bit more challenging. And understanding what your plan is and what you want out of life before you work on the details, I think is key. Exactly.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, a spending plan, it's the map to find the life that you want to live. They're critical to get you where you want to go in as straight a line as possible. So whether you do it yourself or you hire a company like us, The Savvy Life, to help you go through that process, it is worth it. It is absolutely worth it, and quality of life impacting for sure. All right. So again, thank you for joining us today, or not again, but thank you for joining us today for the session on Bourbon Bali categories, one of our favorite topics. If you want to learn more about The Savvy Life, about our services, you can check out our website, thesavvylife.com. You can also find us on various social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. And check out our videos. We're getting very close to having 50 videos up on YouTube. So if you like and subscribe, we'd be very happy about that. Thank you.
And when you go to the website, you'll also see a section on articles. We write and publish articles pretty much every week. So please check those out as well.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.